Spring is here, and the sun has finally started to shine on River Cottage. But despite the weather, I'm a worried man. My big project of the summer, the breeding of the ultimate roasting chicken, should be entering phase 3, hatching. But something is sick at the heart of Chickenopolis. It's supposed to take exactly 21 days for eggs to hatch once they've gone under the broodies. And mine have been under here for 23 days now. I've been checking for the last 3 days, and still, absolutely nothing. And that sloshing noise is a very discouraging sound, because it means that this egg, at least, is completely addled. No good at all. Look at that. There was never anything in there. There's another bad one, and another. That black one is truly rotten. Out of 30 eggs, not one has hatched. I can't blame the bantams. They've all been sitting nice and tight. My hens are doing their bit, laying lots of beautiful eggs. No, the finger of blame points squarely at my Indian game cockerel. There's never been much mouth on him. Now it turns out there's very little trouser. It's not just the chickens that are worrying me. 3 of my ewes are meant to be pregnant, and yet to date only one of them has lambed. That was 3 weeks ago, and the other 2 ewes are showing no signs of imminent delivery. I've called the vet round to find out what's going on. You can have a look. Okay. Come on, girls. This is one of the chilvers, so she wasn't in with the ram anyway. She's for next year.
Right, okay.
This is the old girl.
Yep.
Who had twin lambs when she came to me last year.
Yes.
And still quite perky, but she is quite old. I mean, she did seem to be carrying quite a big belly under her, but then she's a bit bellied out anyway.
Sometimes what can happen, which is quite common with sheep, is that they do get pregnant and then they abort. And of course, if they abort in a situation like this, the fox will remove all evidence straight away.
Really?
And sometimes if they abort quite cleanly, you don't really see much at all. What you can usually do is pummel the side, and at this stage, if there are lambs in there, they should be quite big, and you can feel them bouncing against her flank.
Right.
So that's one sort of very rough shepherd's way of doing it. And the other thing is, she hasn't got any other development at all.
How disappointing, but the same goes for the second ewe. Nothing doing. Suddenly, I'm worried about Marge. She was artificially inseminated last November, and a scan 2 months later confirmed that she was pregnant. She's due in about 7 weeks, but I've asked Mark to check up on her to be on the safe side.
Good girl.
She is huge. I mean, there must be something in there.
She is quite huge. But unfortunately, Hugh, I think she's just well fed, because she's not pregnant.
You're kidding?
No, it's definite, I'm afraid. There's no calf in here at all.
This is turning into a very bad day, Mark. I was hoping for 4 lambs at least, and a nice beef steer from Marge for next year. And it puts the sort of fragile economy of the small holding up the spout, basically.
You're dealing with very few animals, and you can't really afford. There's no margin for error, really.
I'm baffled by this lack of fecundity. Is it something I've done? Ever since Marge arrived, I've tried to look after her every need.
It's very often the case with smallholders' animals or people that have pet cows that look after them incredibly well, and they do get very fat. And fat cows aren't fertile cows, and that could be a problem with Marge, that you've actually looked after her a little bit too well for the sort of hardy breed she is. Yeah.
So she's having too easy a time.
I think she might be having too easy a time down here.
That's ironic, because I'm having a bastard of a time. Suddenly, the future of my livestock is in peril in every department. And it's no good sitting around moping about it. I've got to do something. So I've been on the phone to my friend Jason, who sold me Marge in the first place. But he's offered to help me out and suggests that I meet him at the Shaftesbury cattle market. But one thing's for sure, I'm going to have to dip into my savings to sort this one out. I'm after one yearling calf, and I don't want to spend more than £150. But at this time of year, the inscrutable West Country farmers are looking for extra stock to fatten up on lush spring pasture, and competition for the best lots is fierce. I'm relying on Jason to see me right. I reckon he owes me one.
Buy something young and cheap, that's what you want.
But I do want it to be good meat.
You'll find something good meat here.
So what sort of thing ought I to be looking for?
Well, something but Angus or something with a bit of shape that'll eat well.
Well, purebred Angus?
Well, there won't be many pures here today. You'll have more chance of buying a crossbred out of a dairy cow.
Jason says my best bet is a calf from a beef bull crossed with a dairy cow. Good beef at a reasonable price. They look nice.
Well, it's some pure Angus after, so you're imagining.
What ought I be prepared to pay for one of them?
All depends who's here and who wants it, but sort of say up to 220s.
That much?
Yeah, but...
Lovely beef, but unfortunately these purebred Aberdeen Angus are way out of my price range. Do you think I need to decide now what I want to bid for, or once we're doing the bidding, can I make a quick decision?
What I usually do is wait until it comes in the ring.
Really?
If it's the right beast and the right price, get on and buy it.
But, you know, I might make a quick decision and end up spending too much cash and get the wrong thing.
No, you won't. I'll be with you. You'll be.
You'll look after me,
yeah.
will you? Like you did last year?
Yeah. Sweet.
The auction's underway, and I still don't quite know what I'm after. Eventually, I see something I like. An Aberdeen Angus crossed with a Belgian Blue. And Jason likes it too. The bidding starts at £72 and rapidly passes my limit.
Yeah, go and have another one.
I can't really hear what the man is saying, but Jason says keep on going, so I do. Apparently, I've just bid £238.
Yeah, I see you set up.
Well, I had a sudden rush of blood to the head. You said it was a fine animal.
Yeah, lovely animal. You'll do what you want to.
As my rather overpriced beef steer joins the River Cottage throng, I better start thinking about where I can get some protein for free. Time to put the multi-purpose fish trap I gave myself for Christmas to work. Right now, the cephalopods are in town, and in particular, the European cuttlefish is on the pull in its iridescent mating colours. For a lobster or crab, a bit of smelly old fish would make the perfect bait, but unfortunately, cuttlefish aren't so easily tempted by the offer of free food. An offer of free sex, on the other hand, might just do the trick. The glittering charms of my painted lady should prove irresistible to any self-respecting male cuttlefish. Who needs a boat when an old tractor inner tube can deliver my honey trap to a killer spot just 200 yards off the beach at West Bay? It's been in the water for 24 hours, and it's time to see if my plastic trollop has done the business. Trying to pull a heavy trap up from 40 feet down reveals the limitations of tractor tyre fishing technology. Oh my God, that's ink! And ink means cuttlefish. Woo! Oh, look at the little beauties. Well, they honestly fancied my flapper. Irresistible! Absolutely irresistible. What a thing of beauty. time to head back. Cleaning a cuttlefish is a gleefully messy business. The problem, of course, is the sticky black ink, which it uses as a natural defence against predators. But I don't want it all to disappear down the plug hole, because the ink is actually very tasty, and it's going to be an integral part of the dish I'm going to make. The first thing to do is to pull off the head and tentacles, which are attached to the guts. Then collect the ink, before squeezing out the hard, cartilaginous backbone, much beloved of budgies, and hopefully my chickens. Next, the skin is peeled away from the body, and then it's time to deal with the head. This is actually the mouth of the cuttlefish. You can see it's got this rather hard, vicious beak, and that's what it uses to crunch up the little fish and crustacean that it catches with its tentacles. Let's see. Look at that beak. Everything in front of the eyes is edible, apart from the little bony hoops in the suckers. The skin on the tentacles is scraped off, and when everything's been sliced, you can get cooking. Cuttlefish, and its relation the squid, suffer from a bit of a reputation for toughness. The secret of avoiding this is very simple. You either cook them for an absolute age in a nice liquid as a stew, or you give them literally just a couple of minutes, frazzled very fast. Anything in between and you're in rubber territory. I'm going for the quick option and a traditional Mediterranean black ink sauce. Sieved roasted tomatoes from the freezer are added to half a sautéed red onion. The diabolical black ink gives a distinctive flavour as well as dramatic colour, and some lemon zest and fennel stalks complete the aromatic fusion. The cuttlefish flesh is fried for no more than 2 minutes in hot olive oil with a little chopped garlic for bite. Just 2 more minutes in the inky black sauce and it's ready to eat. It's the black and white cephalopod show. This is the ultimate in two-tone cooking. It tastes wonderful. It's as tender as anything. And it's altogether joyous enough to take my mind off all my livestock troubles. For a few minutes at least. It's the day of reckoning for my underperforming cockerel. The man who provided him, Richard Hicks, has a bit of explaining to do.
Could be in the water down here, Hugh.
Do you think so?
Could be something in the water.
What, are you trying to shirk responsibility for your cockerel's behaviour?
No, my reputation's on the line here, so we'll have a look and see what's gone wrong with the chickens anyway. But the first thing that strikes me with the hens is they're looking too pretty. It looks as though the girls is ready to go out for a night out.
What would you expect them to look like?
Well,
he'd been doing his job.
Well, I expect them to have feathers missing from the back of the neck, where he holds on. And you very often see a bar across the back where the feathers is gone, where he holds on, got the feet and the spurs.
So you think it looks like he hasn't really been getting on them?
Yeah, he should be doing it. But when that cockerel comes out in the morning, wings down, alley shuffle, then you know he's doing his job.
To salvage his reputation, Richard has brought along an identikit replacement Lothario. And a long-handled landing net should deal nicely with the impotent cockerel.
Oh, he's yours now, Hugh. He's well caught. Oh, my son, do your business.
It's a straight swap, and I'm hoping the substitute will have a bit more lead in his pencil, while the failed stud awaits his final sentence. The egg fertility crisis puts a rather large question mark over the whole roast chicken project. And that, combined with my rather rash purchase at the cattle auction, means that the River Cottage cash flow isn't what it should be. I'm hoping the solution may lie with another bird, which, much to the exasperation of local farmers, doesn't seem to have any trouble breeding at all. There's an estimated 20 million wood pigeons in the UK, and during the spring, their favourite foods are the young crops of wheat, peas and oilseed rape. As the biggest single pest in British agriculture, around 5 million are shot each year. If I can get a slice of that action, there must be money to be made. In a field of Dorset rape, I'm meeting up with a highly camouflaged Dawn Wall for a lesson in the subtle art of pigeon decoying.
Place that in the ground. Your dead pigeon on the top. Make sure his feathers is nice and smooth.
So if I pop this one in here...
Yeah, that's fine. Make sure they're all facing the same way. You don't want them too regimental. Facing the wind.
The idea is that a hungry pigeon flying over a field will tend to settle where it sees others already feeding.
Yeah.
And then another cluster over here, you think?
Another cluster over there.
In front of a special hide concealed in the hedge, we set up about 20 dead pigeons from her last outing to look like a feasting flock. Dawn, this is my little contribution to the proceedings.
Hey, this looks interesting.
Look at this. Now, I don't know whether someone of your experience would consider this a bit of a joke, but watch what he does.
Very impressive, yes.
What do you think?
Very impressive.
Will that send them all running, or will that bring them all in?
Well, why don't we try it and see?
With Dawn's dead uns and my lively animatronic, we should be able to attract any pigeon that comes within a mile. I've heard stories of people shooting vast numbers of pigeons like this, and if they're a good shot, they can shoot hundreds in a day.
Yes.
That would suit me very well, because I've got plans for these boys. The deal is that I act as gun dog for the day, picking up everything that Dawn shoots in return for half the bag. By 7 o'clock, the pigeons seem to have got the message, and we call it a day, leaving the rape field to fend for itself once more. Do I get some credit for flapping him in?
I think you get all the credit, Hugh, for flapping them in.
I think you get a little bit for pulling the trigger, but...
I think you get more for flapping them.
My half of the bag is 51 birds. Just what I need for the relaunch of my little catering enterprise, the River Cottage Glutton.
Well, Lord Mayorship, can I interest you in a bunny burger?
In a moment, when it's cooked.
My previous outings under the banner of the Glutton have taught me a thing or two about the kind of food that sells well at public events.
Very much. Samosas and soup, that's all I've got left.
And the golden rules, as far as I can tell, are that it should be hot, it should be easy to eat, and if at all possible, it should alliterate. So this evening, I'm going to be selling pigeon pitter pockets with peas pudding. For my pitter pockets, I want boneless breast meat, which is cut into slithers for quick cooking. But the carcasses don't go to waste. They make a fantastic, almost beefy stock. I'm a bit worried that some of the punters might be slightly freaked out at the idea of pigeons as fast food. So not only have I got to make sure it tastes absolutely delicious, I've got to get it looking right as well. Looking, in fact, exactly like an innocent kebab. For extra flavour and tenderness, the sliced breast meat is marinated in red wine, plenty of olive oil, chopped garlic, lots of thyme, a few bay leaves, and some roughly crushed juniper berries. All the best kebabs I've ever had have been served with a topping of delicious creamy hummus. And the peas pudding I'm going to make is my little variation on that theme. It's an Old English recipe using yellow split peas where the Arabs would use chickpeas. A knuckle of ham provides a meaty base to the pudding, and extra flavour comes from a few stock vegetables, celery, carrot, onions, and a bay leaf. After an hour and a half of simmering, the split peas will dissolve into a rough puree, and the pudding will be ready. The venue for the relaunch of the Glutton is the glamorous evening meet at Bath Racecourse. There's plenty of money flying around, and if I can get some of it coming my way, the River Cottage accounts will be back in the black.
Pigeon pitters, anyone? Don't be shy.
But I'm off to a very slow start.
Pigeon pitter pockets. Thank you.
Eventually the word gets around, and soon the pockets are flying off the stall.
There we go. Your 10, 5 and 2 change. Bit of peas pudding as well?
Yes, please.
All the trimmings?
Absolutely.
As the punters come and go, I get to hear all the coarse gossip.
How have you been getting on?
Not too good so far, but it's on an upward curve. I think I've got the winner of the next anyway, so that's good.
Are you a bit of a...
Yeah, I was the bookmaker. So,
oh my God.
This is...
So, if I slip you an extra bit of pigeon in your kebab, would you be prepared to divulge?
Yeah, you could give me the pigeon pitter for free, and I could tell you the name of the horse.
You want a free one, not just a bit of extra pigeon?
No. I think a free one would be fair.
Okay.
By the start of the next race, I've sold out of pigeon, and after costs I've made nearly £150. That's over half a calf. But with hot tip thermal spring ringing in my ears and tipster Ollie Driscoll to guide me, the other half can't be far away.
7 to 4? Yeah. I'll put 2 20s on that, please.
All right,
That didn't take long, did it?
40 quid each way at 7 to 4 will leave me just the tail to pay for.
So far, so good.
It's a long way to go. He's had to switch. He was on the rail and he's come back out.
Come on, thermal spring!
On the outside.
Come on, thermal spring! He's coming down! Come on, thermal spring! Come on, thermal spring! Come on, thermal spring!
We're not on money, we're on fourth.
So that was useless then?
That was useless, and I'm very sorry about that.
That just makes a bad couple of weeks even worse.
Well, if it was that easy, then there wouldn't be any bookmakers, would there?
Of course, there's always the last race. This time it's just 20 quid, but at 4 to 1.
Come on, darling promise! Yes! Yes! Come on, darling promise! Come on, promise! Yes!
Hi, Burger King. Well done, son. 391, what's the water? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Thank you very much indeed.
Plenty of relish.
See you later.
Ciao, son.
Take it easy.
Next morning I'm feeling much perkier than I was 10 days ago. I've picked up 2 orphaned lambs at a £5 apiece. My big Belgian blue has been all but paid for and is making friends. Even the new cockerel seems to be doing the business. And the old one's finally looking rather promising too.